afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon. Catholics from around the world continue to pray for Pope Francis as the 88-year-old pontiff remains in critical condition. An intensifying feud as Malacanang calls former President Rodrigo Duterte a one-man. Gilas Pilipinas ending its FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers with a big loss to New Zealand. And legendary OPM band Eraserheads hopes to set the record straight on misconceptions about their group with their upcoming docufilm. Thanks for joining us. We begin with an update on Pope Francis, who's been battling double pneumonia at a hospital. The Vatican says the 88-year-old pontiff remains in critical condition for a second day. He is also said to be showing, quote, an initial slight insufficiency in his kidney function. But the Vatican guarantees Francis is alert and well-oriented. The Pope was admitted to a hospital in Rome on February 14 and needed blood transfusions last Saturday. Amid his prolonged hospitalization, the Catholic faithful have continued to gather in various areas to pray for the Pope. Special masses were also being held for the pontiff.
Sappiamo anche quanti si uniscono a noi.
Most Holy Mary, who is caring and tender in assisting her children who are in pain, support him in this time of trial and suffering. God's word and prayer will gather up all our words and express them fully. They will help us to feel in communion with one another, with the Holy Father, with the whole Church, and in particular with the churches in Italy, which in these coming days will gather in so many ways, always in the sweet company of Mary, to intercede for the Pope's recovery. We also know how many join us, how many in friendship have entrusted their prayers to us. How many attestations of gratitude and esteem, which we all present to the Lord so that he may grant protection and make Pope Francis strong in the faith.
Catholics here in the Philippines also praying for the Pope to fully recover. Francis visited the country back in 2015 and held a mass attended by millions of devotees. More than 80% of the Philippine population practice the Catholic faith.
Kailangan talaga natin ng isang leader sa simbahan na kagaya ni Pope Francis sa panahon ngayon. Ngayon na marami tayong pinagdadaanan.
Sana po gumaling na po siya at maging okay na po siya. Madami po kaming mga Pilipino na nagpipray para po kay Pope Francis.
Meanwhile, the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines says now is not the time to talk about who could be next in line to the Pope.
I don't think we should be talking about the election of the Pope right now. What is, I think, proper is to talk about the healing, well-being of Pope Francis. Kasi kung pag-uusapan natin yung tatlong cardinal doon, voting, sa conclave, parang we're getting ahead of the story. Wag naman sana.
Today marks the third anniversary of Russia's grim invasion of Ukraine. At a cemetery in the Ukrainian city of Lviv, light beams illuminated the skies to pay tribute to the thousands of war victims. The invasion, the biggest land conflict in Europe since World War II, has also displaced millions of people and left Ukrainian cities and towns in ruins.
The most important task is to preserve people because people is the biggest value. And we are losing people now. Territories will be ours. I believe in that. The time will come for this.
Every year I've got less and less hope that we will return these territories within our border declared in 1991. With every passing day, we lose hope and faith. Given what is going with the U.S. support and European support, we are losing faith.
The European Union also showing solidarity with Ukraine. EU buildings across Brussels lit up in the colors of the country's flag to mark the war's third anniversary. The EU has welcomed millions of Ukrainian refugees on its soil since the conflict began. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he is willing to give up his position if it meant peace in his country. At a press conference, he also quipped he could exchange his departure for Ukraine's entry into NATO. The statements follow sharp criticisms against him by U.S. President Donald Trump. Zelensky says he wants to see Trump as a partner and more than simply a mediator between Kiev and Moscow.
If it's about peace in Ukraine and you really want me to leave my position, I am ready to do that, in exchange for peace. Secondly, I can exchange it for NATO membership, if there is such an opportunity. I'll do it immediately without a long conversation about it. I am focused on Ukraine's security today and not in 20 years. I don't plan to be in power for decades. Therefore, that's my aim and my dream.
Around 2,000 employees at USAID have been laid off. A majority of the remaining full-time staff were also placed on administrative leave. This is part of the Trump administration's stunning moves to reduce the federal workforce and cut costs. The effort is being led by billionaire Trump backer Elon Musk, who recently requested that millions of bureaucrats list their accomplishments from the past week. Over now to Japan, where thousands gather at the Imperial Palace to celebrate Emperor Naruhito's 65th birthday. Naruhito was joined by his family as he greeted his well-wishers. In a speech, he offered his condolences to those who have died due to recent heavy snowfall in northern Japan. Naruhito was crowned emperor on May 1st, 2019, after his father, Akihito, abdicated.
I am grateful for everyone who came here to celebrate my birthday in the extreme cold. I wish for a peaceful spring to come to everyone across the country. I am praying for everyone's health and happiness.
Philippine Defense Secretary Gibo Teodoro strongly criticizes China's recent dangerous maneuvers in the West Philippine Sea. This comes as the official and his Japanese counterpart visited key military facilities here in the country. Francis Falve reports.
Japan Defense Minister Nakatani Gen is currently in the Philippines. According to the Defense Department, he arrived in the country Saturday night. On Sunday, Defense Secretary Gilbert Teodoro accompanied him to Basa Air Base in Pampanga. Later in the day, they went to Wallace Air Base in San Fernando, La Union to inspect the radar system that the Philippines acquired from Japan last year. The air surveillance radar system is part of the PAPS radar project with Japanese electronics firm Mitsubishi Electronic Corporation, amounting to 5.5 billion pesos for 4 radar units, 3 fixed and 1 mobile. Philippine Air Force is already using 1 fixed and the mobile radar unit. The project also comes with radar support facilities, radar tower and radome, command and control building, communications infrastructure, electric power generator building, and housing for the mobile radar and its vehicles.
Domain awareness is extremely important so that we have a picture of what is happening on the airspace, principally on the airspace, within our Philippine Air Defense Identification Zone. Because if we are not aware, then we will not know what threats exist. So we are making our capabilities stronger and more precise.
The project is under the Armed Forces of the Philippines Modernization Program. It is also part of the government's efforts to further develop, enhance, and sustain the country's air and maritime domain awareness. The air surveillance radar system can detect foreign vessels and aircraft with more than 300 nautical miles of instrumental range. With early detection of threats and intrusions within the Philippines EEZ, the Philippine Air Force will be able to respond promptly to safeguard the country's economic interests. Secretary Teodoro also had strong words regarding the recent incident of Chinese PLA Navy helicopters' dangerous maneuver against a BFAR aircraft in Bajo de Masinloc last week.
It once again demonstrates that China is not a party that respects any form of international law or any form of dependability or reliability. Because they have not been a credible citizen of the world, so to speak, and that's the Chinese Communist Party. Their expansionism, their disregard of safety, and their disregard of the rights, particularly of smaller states, is now patent and for the world to see.
Teodoro adds they are considering to get more radar systems in the future. It is also important to strengthen alliances with like-minded countries, which is the reason why they are into the final talks on having a visiting forces agreement with New Zealand and other agreements with Canada and France. Meanwhile, President Marcos, Secretary Teodoro, and Japan Defense Minister Nakatani are set to meet today regarding regional security, bilateral and multilateral cooperation for the Indo-Pacific region. Francis Polbe, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
The Philippines and France, meanwhile, mark a historic milestone in defense cooperation. That's as the French nuclear-powered aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle is now in Subic for an unprecedented stopover. 2 multi-mission destroyers are also docked in Manila. The French embassy says this operational deployment is a testament to their commitment towards a free and open Indo-Pacific. It comes after the French carrier strike group held a bilateral maritime cooperative activity with Filipino forces in the West Philippine Sea. The Philippines commemorates the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Manila. President Bongbong Marcos led a ceremony at the Manila American Cemetery in Taguig City. Also there, the commander of the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, Admiral Samuel J. Paparo. In a speech, Marcos paid tribute to the sacrifices of Filipino and American soldiers to ensure the country's freedom.
I would like to believe that even if we gather to commemorate the liberation of Manila year after year, as our predecessors before us, our deep respect has not faded, nor will it ever fade. Our deepest respect for the soldiers who suffered, for the soldiers who lost their lives as they marched more than 60 miles from Bataan to Tarlac during the infamous Death March, for the thousands who never saw the light at the end of the tunnels in Corregidor, for those whose lives and families were changed forever by war, and of course, our deepest respect for the veterans who are here today, veterans who come regularly and whose numbers have dwindled over the years.
The president also reaffirmed the Philippines' commitment to peace and regional stability. He pointed to the strong alliance between Manila and Washington, citing upcoming joint military exercises as a testament to their enduring partnership. U.S. Ambassador Mary Kay Carlson also paid tribute, saying freedom was hard-won and would not have been possible if not for the unity of Filipino and American soldiers as well as civilians. The president of the island nation of Palau is here in the Philippines for the first time. Our correspondent Pierre Pastor is monitoring his visit. He joins us now live from Malacanang for an update. Pierre.
Yes, Mai. President Bongbong Marcos formally welcomed President Sorangel Whips Jr. of the Republic of Palau in Malacanang. This is the first visit of the Palau president to the Philippines. To mark his first trip to the country, President Whips Jr. laid a wreath at the Rizal Monument at the Luneta Park this morning. He was accorded with honors before he was officially introduced to the Philippine delegation. President Sorangel Whips Jr. is expected to exchange views with President Marcos on expanding existing bilateral cooperation on fisheries, trade, investment, connectivity, and people-to-people ties. They will also discuss new avenues of collaboration, such as health and labor. They will also discuss South-to-South cooperation, regional concerns, and common advocacies. There are almost 3,000 Filipinos living and working in Palau, marking their 17% of their population. In 2027, the two countries will celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Philippines-Palau diplomatic relations.
Thank you, Pierre Pastor, reporting. The rift between the current and former president intensifies. Malacanang calling former President Rodrigo Duterte a one-man fake news factory after he accused President Marcos of heading toward dictatorship. In a statement, Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin asserts the Marcos administration will not repeat the oppressive practices of the previous government, under which critics were allegedly jailed on trumped-up charges while kill orders were blindly followed. At a rally in Mandaue City over the weekend, Duterte claimed that Marcos would stay in power beyond 2028 and impose martial law, much like his late father, Ferdinand Marcos Sr. Veteran broadcaster Jay Ruiz is officially the ad interim secretary of the Presidential Communications Office. He took his oath this morning before President Marcos. Ruiz replaces Cesar Chavez, who resigned as acting PCO chief on February 5th. He said he was leaving with one regret, that he has fallen short of what was expected of him. We're taking a break. Up ahead, electricity rates set to go up next month. Find out why when Newsfeed at Noon returns. You're back at Newsfeed at Noon. Heads will roll. That stern warning from the Bureau of Customs after some agency personnel were reportedly involved in an attempted resale of 270 million pesos worth of smuggled cigarettes. BOC Commissioner Bienvenido Rubio says he has ordered an internal probe. He also gives his assurance the agency will fully cooperate with the NBI's own investigation into the matter. The smuggled cigarettes seized at the port of Subic between July 2021 and June 2022 were consigned to Hongsim International Corporation and Proline Logistics. After being abandoned and referred for disposal 2 years ago, an attempt was reportedly made to illegally resell them during a shift change of customs personnel at the port. Heads up to consumers, higher electricity bills are expected next month. The Energy Regulatory Commission has approved an 11 centavo per kilowatt hour hike for the feed-in tariff allowance, or FIDAL. That's a uniform charge applied to all on-grid electricity consumers to support renewable energy promotion. The ERC explains the rate hike is necessary due to the depletion of the FIDAL fund resulting from low prices in the wholesale electricity spot market. A major win for the economy as the Philippines is now off the gray list of the Financial Action Task Force. This comes after nearly 4 years under increased monitoring from the global watchdog on money laundering and terrorism financing. The heightened scrutiny made it harder for businesses to process international transactions, attract foreign investments, and access global financial markets. Now that the Philippines is delisted, cross-border transactions are expected to smoothen, investor confidence will get a boost, and the country will be in a stronger position to compete globally. The challenge, of course, doesn't end here, as the country must ensure these gains are sustained to avoid falling back under monitoring. The son of ultra-Bilyonaryo Ramon Ang is making his own mark in the business world as he unveils a unique cafe with a surprising main attraction. Our correspondent G. Baroga takes us inside.
Take the risk and go for it. That's the mantra Jacob Ang, son of ultra-billionaryo Ramon Ang, followed when he took the plunge into his new bistro business. The cafe was originally meant to be a pop-up, but after seeing the buzz it generated and the car enthusiasts who showed up, Oliver's Coffee Bistro was born.
A year ago, we were like, hey Derek, why don't we plan something that caters to the car community? And what better way to build a branch a bit bigger, something to our liking, that's going to cater and to the car community and show car, something unique. So yeah, literally just 1 year ago, we thought about it and we just said, you know what, let's take the risk and let's see what we can show and give to the clients.
The cafe, which had a soft opening last November, blends their passions for food, coffee, adventure, and of course, cars.
We landed with Oliver's Coffee. It's a name that sounds foreign, but at the same time, you could really relate and see the dreamer in that name. Someone who aspires to be something more and push forward.
Derek adds that their menu is a reflection of their family's interests. He got into experimenting with coffee during the pandemic, calling their coffee menu a labor of love.
As a true car guy who oversees Ferrari and BMW in the Philippines, Jacob Ang made sure to create a special spot in his cafe to showcase some of the brand's looks and fancy cars.
Jacob says the turntable represents movement and innovation, and it's open to showcasing models from other car brands too, so fans can expect a rotating variety of cars.
As of now, I'm pretty sure that this is the only place in the country with a turntable where a car can go park there and go 360. So that people could really appreciate all the angles, all the curves of every single car that we display.
The young entrepreneurs are confident and well aware of the competitive nature of the business world.
For you to survive in this business landscape wherein everyone's very competitive and everyone shares the same passion, you really have to take the leap of faith sometimes to sort of, because I'm going to take this from your book. Yeah. You never know till you try.
You may have some steps where you make a mistake, so you just take one step back but 2 steps forward, right? So with that in mind, that's how we deal with our business and our future ventures.
Looking ahead, Jacob and Derek are already planning to open more branches in the metro, with more turntables to showcase even more cars. For BNC Mobility, G. Baroga.
Still to come here on Newsfeed at noon, dogs in Brazil braving the heat in Rio de Janeiro for an annual paw parade. That and more when Newsfeed at noon returns. Stay with us. back in Newsfeed at noon. Again, the headlines. Catholics from around the world praying for Pope Francis as the 88-year-old pontiff remains in critical condition. An intensifying feud as Malacanang calls former President Rodrigo Duterte a one-man fake news factory. Gilas Pilipinas ends its FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers with a big loss to New Zealand. And legendary band Eraserheads hopes to set the record straight on misconceptions about their group with their upcoming docufilm. Lawmakers back Malacanang in denouncing former President Rodrigo Duterte's claims that President Bongbong Marcos is veering towards dictatorship. Hannah T. joins us from the Senate for more on this. Go ahead, Hannah.
That's right, Mai. Some members of the House of Representatives are taking a stronger stand, warning that these false claims are meant to discredit the Marcos administration and distract the public from more pressing issues. Their frustration centers on what they describe as a pattern. Falsehoods from former President Rodrigo Duterte intended to undermine the government. Representative Paulo Ortega criticized how disinformation has become a political weapon, saying lies are being spread to twist PBBM's actions. He pointed out that even public rallies are used to propagate falsehoods, and when those responsible are being called out, they simply backtrack and claim it was just a joke. Representative Zia Alonto Adyong rejected Duterte's accusation that PBBM is moving toward dictatorship. He said the president has shown no signs of authoritarian rule and has continued to respect separation of powers. He pointed out that even in crucial moments, especially on the pending impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte, PBBM did not call for a special session, choosing instead to allow Congress to function independently. He described Duterte's statements as a clear attempt to damage the president's image rather than a valid criticism based on facts. Meanwhile, Representative Ernix Jonicio shifted the focus to national security, warning that the real threat to the country lies outside its borders. He questioned why Filipinos are being pitted against each other instead of focusing on foreign forces attempting to weaken the nation. He said that PBBM prioritized national interests and has taken a strong stance against external aggression. Mai?
Hannah, what's their take on the Senate not convening as an impeachment court yet? Well, everything is still pending.
Actually, House lawmakers are also gearing up for the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte here in the Senate. And House prosecutors are now finalizing preparations, and they say that the trial will allow both sides to present their cases fairly. But they insist that President Bongbong Marcos Jr. should not be involved in calling for a special session. Ortega says that impeachment is a matter exclusively for Congress and must proceed without executive intervention. He said the Senate will have full control over the trial and they will respect its decision on how to move forward. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you. Hannah T. reporting from the Senate. Let's now find out how the skies are shaping up this week. Joining us on the line, Pag-asa weather specialist Ana Cloren Horda. Good afternoon, Ana. So what is the weather going to be like? Ana? All right, we'll try to get Ana back on the line in a bit. Meanwhile, Congress allocates 500 million pesos more to the country's calamity fund this year. The fund now stands at 21 billion pesos. Congressman Marvin Villo, who is part of the House Appropriations Committee, says 10.7 billion pesos will go to relief and rehabilitation. 9.7 billion will be used for damaged infrastructure and 1 billion pesos is earmarked as survival fund. Different government agencies will also be provided with quick response funds. The Department of Agriculture assures the public there are currently no active cases of bird flu. On Bilyonaryo News Channel's It's a Beautiful Day, Agriculture Secretary Arnel de Mesa says the outbreak earlier reported in Camarines Norte is now under control. He adds vaccine trials are underway to prevent further outbreaks. The official explains there have been cases of animal-to-human transmission, but human-to-human transmission is rare.
Again, I just would like to assure our countrymen na controlled yung cases ng bird flu sa ating bansa. No need to worry about the supply. In fact, ang poultry subsector natin ang nagko-contribute sa growth ng agri-sector. For the past how many quarters and years, consistently tumataas yung production natin ng poultry and yung eggs natin. And it's safe to eat and consume yung ating poultry products, but nevertheless, it's always advisable to cook them properly.
With dengue cases on the rise again, PhilHealth affirms essential aid is available to patients whether they are hospitalized or not. Officials say the Consulta program offers free checkups and covers laboratory tests, while outpatient benefits are extended to patients experiencing severe symptoms and needing emergency care. Benefits for hospitalized patients have also been increased. Mild dengue cases can now receive 19,500 pesos, up from 10,000, while severe cases can receive 47,000 pesos, up from 16,000. Over 43,000 cases have been recorded since January, marking a 56% increase from last year. The highest numbers are found in Calabarzon, Metro Manila, and Central Luzon, where many of the patients are children aged 5 to 14. Baguio City was in full bloom over the weekend as it holds its annual Flower Festival. Paulo Barcelon gives us a look at this year's Panagbenga Fest.
Colorful and grand floats decorated with various types of flowers took center stage at the Grand Floral Float Parade of the Panagbenga Festival in Baguio City this Sunday. The star-studded Grand Parade was the Panagbenga Festival's highlight of celebration. Close to 50 floats participated, showcasing a variety of flowers such as chrysanthemums, lilies, sunflowers, and many more. The parade traveled along Session Road and ended at the Melvin Jones Grandstand. Aside from the floats, some well-known personalities also entertained the crowd, including the cast of the teleserye Batang Quiapo, Santino, Ryan, Badong, Mammoth, and Big Mac, who rode the Batang Regasco float. There was also a moving concert featuring rappers Crazy Mix, Flick G, Basilio, and Sisa performing along the parade route. Also taking part in the parade were Abante Radio, Mellow 94.7 FM, and the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Baguio streets were packed with people eager to witness the parade's vibrant display. Former LPGMA Party List Representative Arnel T. also joined the celebration, reminding the public about the proper use of LPGs.
Napaka-importante ang educational drive na ginagawa namin ngayon. We always coordinate with the Department of Energy, and we are very thankful that the CIDG also is implementing yung kanilang mandatory support to the Department of Energy para to go after all the illegal activity in the LPG industry.
The Panagbenga Festival, also known as the Flower Festival, is one of the biggest celebrations in the country, showcasing the rich culture and history of Baguio City. Paulo Barcelon, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
We now have on the line Pag-asa weather specialist Ana Cloren Horda. Ana, what's the weather going to be like this week? Ana, go ahead. Ana, you're live on Newsfeed at noon. Go ahead. What's the weather going to be like?
Hello, good morning po. Naririnig po ba yung audio?
Yes, we can hear you, Ana. You're live.
Okay po. So for our weather update, still the northeast monsoon still affecting the northern and central Luzon area, and this will bring cloudy skies with light rains over Cagayan Valley, Cordillera Region, and Aurora. While the easterlies will continue to bring scattered rain showers and thunderstorms over eastern Visayas, central Visayas, Negros Island Region, Caraga, Sorsogon, Masbate, Capiz, Iloilo, Davao Oriental, and Davao de Oro. Here in Metro Manila and the rest of the country, we're expecting a generally fair weather condition aside from isolated rain showers, mostly in the afternoon or in the evening. Currently, we're not monitoring any weather disturbance or low pressure area that may affect the country for the next 3 to 5 days. And that's the latest from Pag-asa. This is Ana Cloren Horda. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Pag-asa Weather Specialist Ana Cloren Horda. Friedrich Merz is set to become Germany's next chancellor as his opposition conservatives win the national elections. Merz, who has never held a government role, has vowed to help give Europe real independence from the U.S. His election comes as Germany faces its biggest economic and diplomatic crises in decades. His closest rival, the far-right Alternative for Germany, enjoyed the endorsement of prominent U.S. figures, including President Donald Trump's billionaire backer, Elon Musk. More snow forecast to fall on Japan in the coming days. Japan has been dealing with a strong cold air mass that has brought heavy snowfall well above the seasonal average. Authorities have issued avalanche warnings in some regions. Residents have also been alerted on potential transportation disruptions. From snow to heavy rainfall, Botswana is reeling from floods that have already claimed at least 7 lives. Thousands have also been displaced due to more than a week of downpours. Emergency and rescue teams have been dispatched as the country braces for more rain in the coming days. It's all good weather in Brazil, and pet owners and their costume dogs are braving the heat in Rio de Janeiro to celebrate the annual Rocao Street Party. The event is being held on the iconic Copacabana beach as part of the city's vibrant carnival festivities.
Dogs come dressed up as us. It's fantastic. It's refreshing in the shade despite the heat. Bring your dog. The carnival in Rio is full of dogs.
We're taking another breather. Up ahead, the NU Lady Bulldogs still undefeated in the UAAP Women's Volleyball Season 87. The details after the break. Stay with Newsfeed at noon. You're still watching Newsfeed at noon. In sports, the final window campaign of Gilas Pilipinas in the FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers ends on a losing note. New Zealand exacted revenge on the Philippines with a masterful display from long range in their Group B rematch Sunday in Oakland. Final score 87-70. The Tall Blacks clobbered Gilas with 13 triples compared to the Philippines' 6. New Zealand's defense also contained Justin Brownlee, who scored 39 points against Chinese Taipei to just 10 points. The Philippines ends the qualifiers with a record of 4 wins and 2 losses. Up next for Gilas, the FIBA Asia Cup itself in Saudi Arabia, which tips off in August. From the hardcore to the Terraflex, National University remains the top dog so far in the UAAP women's volleyball. The reigning queens had to overcome a tough FEU Lady Tamarao squad Sunday at the Mall of Asia Arena in Pasay. The Lady Bulldogs escaped in 5 nail-biting sets. NU rules the standings with a perfect 3-0 win-loss record, while FEU slides to 1-2. In the first game, the Ateneo Blue Eagles barged into the win column at the expense of the UP Fighting Maroons. The injury-hit Blue Eagles swept the first-round edition of the Battle of Katipunan. Ateneo now has 1 win and 2 losses. UP remains at second place at 2-1. In entertainment, pageant season has officially kicked off with the release of the official headshots of this year's Miss Universe Philippines candidates. 69 bats will vie for the 2025 crown and become Chelsea Manalo's successor. The roster includes a few pageant veterans like Ileana Aduana, Winwin Marquez, and Atisa Manalo. Details for Coronation Night have yet to be announced. The Eraserheads are set to take fans on a cinematic journey next month. Combo on the Run offers a behind-the-scenes look at the Fab Four's reunion concert in 2022. In an interview on It's a Beautiful Day, director Diane Ventura says the band wants to set the record straight on long-standing misconceptions.
I think this is different, and I would say probably more definitive because, like I said, it's the guys reclaiming their narrative. So most of the things we know about the guys are mostly hearsay or speculation, especially the information regarding revolving their breakup and also their tumultuous relationship. This is very different from the other features about them because it's actually them that's narrating what happened to them. So there's a personal touch to it. It's unfiltered, nothing is swept under the rug.
Combo on the Run hits local cinemas for 1 weekend only from March 21st to the 23rd. Lea Salonga's latest collab is generating buzz on social media. Take a look at her recent video with TikTok stars Jonathan Tilkin and Anthony Gargiula as they sang the Mulan hit Reflection. Watch this. Wow, this viral video has received 9 million views and counting on Jonathan's TikTok page. It gained praises from many fans and celebrities, including critically acclaimed Filipino theater actress Rachel Ann Go. Pop star and former Pussycat doll Nicole Scherzinger also commented, quote, "Perfection," with a teary-eyed emoji. Well, it is perfection. And on to the award season in Hollywood as movie stars descend on Santa Monica Beach for the 40th Film Independent Spirit Awards. The event's big winner, the dramedy Anora, which took home the Best Feature prize. Its star Mikey Madison won Best Performance, while Sean Baker won Best Director. Jesse Eisenberg won Best Screenplay for A Real Pain, while Kieran Culkin was named Best Supporting Actor for the same movie. In the television categories, Baby Reindeer swept the board with the show's creator, star, and writer Richard Gadd winning Best Lead Actor. Shogun took home the prize for Best Scripted Series. And those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Good afternoon.